Today on MTG Unpacked, we're taking a look at the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth Commander deck, Food and Fellowship. So the commander here we have is Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit. This is a white, black and green deck. So let's see what we get here. Okay, so we do have some other hobbits. Awesome. Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit and Sam, Loyal Attendant. We got a 100 card deck with 20 new cards. Foil etched display commander, 11 double-sided tokens deck box, life wheel, strategy insert, and reference card. You also get these sample packs for the collector boosters in these. So just a couple of cards in those. These are currently going for about 78 bucks US. A little bit pricey. You might want to wait until they do some reprints. They should be closer to 50 bucks. So we will set that aside. Let's take a look at what we've got here. So we have a deck box, which should hold a sleeved commander deck. Probably not double sleeve though. And let's see what else we've got here. We've got some dividers, very shiny indeed. Some punch outs on the sides. All right. And then we have a deck here. Life wheel and some info, but first let's get into the collector booster sample pack. So I think these are supposed to whet your appetite for the collector boosters. Let's see what we get here. So we've got an ad card and Rivendell. Okay, nice borderless art or extended art, that one, and a foil Dunland Crebain, and I swear I keep pulling that one. Not sure what that's about. Okay. And then the life wheel here, we're going up to 40, yep, and counting down from there. And we'll see what this flyer is about. They usually tell you about the deck itself. So we have Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit, and Sam, Loyal Attendant. So this is pretty much a food-based deck. We'll find out how that works shortly. You've got rules of Commander here, in case you're new to the format. And then a bit about Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit. And yes, wielding the terrifying and powerful One Ring. And Sam, Loyal Attendant, so the other Hobbit here. And then they tell you about why these are white, black and green aligned. So a little bit of logic behind it. They didn't just make it up. Okay, so let's get into the deck itself. And we'll start off, we'll look for the, where is it? The thick display commander here. So we have Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit. So this is purely for display. You're not going to be shuffling that into your deck. So we'll set that aside. And then we will check where are the lands. They're usually near the end here. So we will separate out the lands and then cut the deck like so. Let's take a look at what we got. So we have a mythic Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit, legendary creature, Halfling Scout. It's a 1/3 for 2. Partners with Sam, Loyal Attendant. Has vigilance, and whenever Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit attacks, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, the ring tempts you. Then if Frodo is your ring bearer and the ring has tempted you 2 or more times this game, draw a card. Okay, so really playing into that ring tempts you mechanic. Next up we got another mythic. It is Sam, Loyal Attendant. Legendary creature, Halfling Peasant, 2/4 for 3. Partners with Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a food token. So that's an artifact with pay 2 taps, sack this artifact. You gain 3 life, and activated abilities of foods you control cost 1 less to activate. That's actually pretty cool. Okay. Next up we have Eagles of the North. Creature, bird, soldier, 3/3 for 6 with flying. When it enters battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. Also has plane cycling 1. And Landroll, Horizon Witness, legendary creature, bird noble, 3/4 for 5 with flying. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, Target attacking creature without flying gains flying until end of turn. That's a pretty handy ability. Rosie Cotton of South Lane, legendary creature, halfling peasant, 1/1 for 3. When Rosie enters battlefield, create a food token. And whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. So again, another synergy there with the food tokens. We've got a Shire Sheriff, creature halfling soldier, 2/2 for 2 with vigilance. When Shire Sheriff enters battlefield, you may sacrifice a token. When you do, exile target creature an opponent controls until Shire Sheriff leaves the battlefield. Mirkwood Bats, creature bat, 2/3 for 4 with flying. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. And Generous Ent, creature treefolk, 5/7 for 6 with reach. When it enters battlefield, create a food token. Also has Forest Cycling 1. I think that's one of the new cards in this set. And Path to Exile, instant for a single white. Exile target creature. Its controller may search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And you'll notice new artwork on a bunch of reprints in this set. We've got Swords to Plowshares. Here's another one with new artwork. Instant for a single white. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. And Revive the Shire. Sorcery for 2. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Create a food token. And Butterbur, Bree Innkeeper. Legendary creature, human peasant, 3/3 for 4 at the beginning of your end step. If you don't control a food, create a food token. Crypt Incursion. Instant for 3. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each card exiled this way. Go for the throat. We've got Golem here. Precious, precious, precious. Instant for 2. Destroy target non-artifact creature. And Knight's Whisper. Sorcery for 2. You draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Cultivate. Some nice reprints in this. Sorcery for 3. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reel them. Put one onto the battlefield. Tap and the other into your hand. Then shuffle. And Essence Warden, creature elf shaman, 1/1 for a single green. Whenever another creature enters battlefield, you gain 1 life. And Farseek, sorcery for 2. Search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And Great Oak Guardian, creature treefolk, 4/5 for 6 with flash and reach. When it enters battlefield, creatures target player controls get +2/+2 until end of turn. Untap them. And Harmonize, sorcery for 4. Draw 3 cards. Very simple and straightforward. And Orchard Strider, creature treefolk, 6/4 for 6. When it enters battlefield, create 2 food tokens. And it has basic land cycling for 1 and a green. Prosperous Innkeeper, creature halfling citizen, 1/1 for 2. When it enters battlefield, create a treasure token. So that's an artifact with tap. Sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. Whenever another creature enters battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. And Shire Terrace, I think we saw this in the other deck. It's a land, tap 4, colorless for 1, tap, sack it, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. Tireless Provisioner, creature elf scout, 3/2 for 3, has landfall, so whenever a land enters battlefield under your control, create a food token or a treasure token. Mortify, instant for 3, destroy target creature or enchantment. And Savvy Hunter, creature human warrior, 3/3 for 3. Whenever it attacks or blocks, create a food token. Arcane Signet, you'll see this one in a bunch of commander decks. It's an artifact for 2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And Commander's Sphere, artifact for 3. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And if you sacrifice it, you get to draw a card. Pristine Talisman, artifact for 3. Tap 4, colorless, you gain 1 life. And Soul Ring, yes, in every deck these days. Artifact for 1, tap for 2, colorless. Field Tested Frying Pan, that's fun. Artifact Equipment for 3. When it enters battlefield, create a food token, then create a 1/1 white halfling creature token and attach Field Tested Frying Pan to it. Equipped creature has, whenever you gain life, this creature gets +X plus X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. Equip for 2. And the Gaffer, legendary creature, halfling peasant, 2/3 for 3. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, draw a card. Okay, so moving on to the rest of the deck here. We have Guahir, Greatest of the Eagles, legendary creature, bird noble, 5/5 for 5. With flying, whenever it attacks, target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 3/3 white bird creature token with flying, and whenever this creature attacks, target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. And of Herbs and Stewed Rabbit, so this is an enchantment saga. On the first turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature, create a food token. The second turn, draw a card, create a food token. And on the third turn, create a 1/1 white halfling creature token for each food you control. Golem, Obsessed Stalker, legendary creature, halfling horror. That's about right. 1/1 for 2. Has Skulk. And at the beginning of your end step, each opponent dealt damage this game by a creature named Golem, Obsessed Stalker, loses life equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. Lobelia, Defender of Bag End, legendary creature, halfling citizen, 2/2 for 3. When Lobelia enters the battlefield, look at the top card of each opponent's library and exile those cards face down. Tap, sack an artifact, choose one. You can either, until end of turn, you may play a card exiled with Lobelia without paying its mana cost, or each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Rapacious Guest, creature, halfling citizen, 2/2 for 3 with menace. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a food token. And whenever you sacrifice the food, put a +1/+1 counter on Rapacious Guest. So you can really bulk up this one. When Rapacious Guest leaves the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to its power. Assemble the Entmoot. Enchantment for 4 creatures you control have reach. So that means they can attack creatures with flying. Sacrifice it, you get to create 3 tapped XX green treefolk creature tokens, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. Put a reach counter on each of them. Feasting Hobbit, that's fun. Creature, halfling citizen, 2/2 for 2 with Devour Food 3. As this enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of foods. This creature enters the battlefield with 3 times that many +1/+1 counters on it. Craziness. Creatures with power less than Feasting Hobbit's power can't block it. And Motivated Pony. Creature horse, 3/3 for 5 with trample and haste. Whenever it attacks, attacking creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. If a food entered the battlefield under your control this turn, untap those creatures and they get an additional +2/+2 until end of turn. We got a Prize Pig. Creature, boar, 0/3 for 2. Whenever you gain life, put that many ribbon counters on Prize Pig. Then if there are 3 or more ribbon counters on it, remove those counters and untap it. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Banquet Guest. Creature, halfling citizen, 0/0 for X, green and white. Has affinity for food. So this spell costs 1 less to cast for each food you control. Has trample, and it enters the battlefield with twice X +1/+1 counters on it. Pay 2, sack a food, and it gains indestructible until end of turn. Bilbo, Birthday Celebrant. This one's a fun one. You'll see why in a moment. Legendary creature, halfling rogue, 2/3 for 3. If you'd gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. And for 2 white, black, and green, tap, exile Bilbo. Search your library for any number of creature cards. Put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. That is pretty insane. However, you can only activate that if you have 111 more life. So that is his birthday age. Farmer Cotton, legendary creature, halfling peasant, 1/1 for X, green and white. When it enters battlefield, create X 1/1 white halfling creature tokens and X food tokens. Merry Warden of Isengard, legendary creature, halfling advisor, 1/4 for 3. Partners with Pippin, Warden of Isengard. Okay, so we've got Merry and Pippin here as well. Whenever 1 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. This ability triggers only once each turn, so you could use that one as your commander as well, partnering with Pippin, Warden of Isengard. So legendary creature, halfling advisor, 2/2 for 2. partners with Merry Warden of Isengard. For 1 tap, create a food token. Tap, sack 4 foods and other creatures you control. Get +3/+3 and gain haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Treebeard, Gracious Host, legendary creature, tree folk 0/5 for 4 with trample and ward 2. So when it enters battlefield, create 2 food tokens, and whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1 counters on target halfling or tree folk. And we've got tons of those in this deck. We've got Hithlane Rope, artifact for 2. It can't be sacrificed. For 1 tap, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto a battlefield, tap, then shuffle. The player to your right gains control of Hithlane Rope. For 2 tap, draw a card. The player to your right gains control of Hithlane Rope. Okay, so it like passes around the commander table. We've got Call for Unity. Enchantment for 5 has Revolt. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a Unity counter on Call for Unity. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on Call for Unity. Dawn of Hope, enchantment for 2. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. And for 3 and a white, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. And we've got Dusk Till Dawn. So Dusk is a sorcery for 4. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. And then Dawn is a sorcery for 5. Has Aftermath. So you cast the spell only from your graveyard, then exile it. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Alright, and next up we've got Fell the Mighty, sorcery for 5. Destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power. Fumigate, sorcery for 5. Destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. Mentor of the Meek, creature, human soldier, 2/2 for 3. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters battlefield and your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. And Sanguine Bond, enchantment for 5. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Okay, so that's pretty handy. Toxic Deluge, sorcery for 3. As an additional cost to cast this spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn. Birds of Paradise, nice. I like the artwork on this one. Creature bird, 0/1 for a single green, has flying. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. And Gilded Goose, creature bird, 0/2 for a single green, has flying. When it enters battlefield, create a food token for 1 and a green. Tap, create a food token, and tap, sack a food, add 1 mana of any color. You might remember this one from Throne of Eldraine. Woodfall Primus, creature, tree folk, shaman, 6/6 for 8 with trample. When it enters battlefield, destroy a target non-creature permanent, and it also has persist. Anguished Unmaking, instant for 3. Exile target non-land permanent, you lose 3 life. Chromatic Lantern, artifact for 3. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. And Trading Post, artifact for 4. For 1 tap, discard a card, you gain 4 life. For 1 tap, pay 1 life. Create a 0/1 white goat creature token. For 1 tap, sacrifice a creature. You can see what they're doing here. Return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. For 1 tap, sacrifice an artifact, draw a card. So you can like iterate through that whole sequence there. Well of Lost Dreams, artifact for 4. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained. If you do, draw X cards. Okay, so there's the bulk of the deck. Let's take a look at what we've got for the lands here. We'll separate out those tokens for later. Next up we have Brushland. It's land, tap 4 colorless, tap 4 green or white. It deals 1 damage to you. Canopy Vista, tap for green or white, enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Exotic Orchard, tap to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Fortified Village, as it enters battlefield, you may reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield, tap for green or white. Isolated Chapel enters tapped unless you control a plains or a swamp, tap for white or black. Murmuring Bosque, tap for green. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a Tree Folk card from your hand. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped, and tap for white or black. It deals 1 damage to you. Necroblossom Snarl. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a swamp or forest card from your hand. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped, tap for black or green. And Scattered Groves, tap for green or white, enters tapped. Cycle it for 2. Shine Shadow Snarl. As it enters battlefield, you may reveal a plains or swamp card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield tapped, tap for white or black. Sunpetal Grove enters tapped unless you control a forest or plains, tap for green or white. Woodland Cemetery enters tapped unless you control a swamp or a forest, tap for black or green. Access Tunnel, tap for colorless for 3 tap. Target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn. I like how they have different artwork on all these. Ash Barrens, it's a land, tap for colorless, has basic land cycling 1. And Command Tower. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. We saw that one in the other deck as well. Along with this one, Evolving Wilds, tap, sack it, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Ghost Quarter, tap 4 colorless, tap, sacrifice it, destroy target land. Its controller may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Grey Pelt Refuge enters tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life, tap for green or white. Path of Ancestry enters tapped. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. And Rogue's Passage, tap 4 colorless for 4 tap. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Sandstep Citadel enters tapped. Tap for white, black or green. Scoured Barrens enters tapped. When it enters battlefield, you gain 1 life, tap for white or black. And now we have basic lands. Let's see how many we've got. 4 plains, okay, and then swamps. 4 of those, and forests. 8 of those, okay. So a little bit unbalanced there, but we do have more green cards here, I think. Okay, let's take a look at the tokens. So we've got a Star Tree Folk. On the other side, we of course have the food. And then Tree Folk, food, yeah, I'm guessing. Another one, Tree Folk, food. We've got a 3/3 bird with flying. Whenever this creature attacks target, attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. On the other side, we got a 0/1 goat. There we go. That is the goat we need. A bird and goat. Another bird and food. On the other side, is that... okay, there's the artwork for that one. Soldier 1/1 with lifelink. On the other side, we've got more food. Soldier and food. Yep. Treasure token. On the other side, we have a 1/1 halfling. Treasure and a 1/1 halfling. And then the ring. So you can see how the ring tempts you. That tells you about how all that works. And then parts of the turn and popular Magic formats. Okay, so this deck, another one, looks pretty good. Lots of food synergies here. I like the thing with the Bilbo's birthday, the 111 life. So you're going to be trying to gain a lot of life with this one. I also saw some cards that would remove life from your opponents. So let me know in the comments what you think about this one. You're looking at about $200 worth of cards at the time of filming. That will drop as time goes on. Stay tuned. We've got a couple more of these Commander decks to come, along with a bunch more Lord of the Rings content. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.